Hey Raven users, Jamie Z here, and we're going to walk through setting up Raven 4.0 on Windows with the MTI Max. Setup will be very similar on the MTI2 or MTZ. Now that we plugged in the HDMI cable and the USB cable, and we've installed the Raven software, we have touch on the screen. You even have some basic gestures, so 4-finger expand will open up a tab, 2-finger rotate to the left will hide it. Now all of our gestures and touch is handled by UPDD. So if you click the system tray down here, these two little hand icons are the UPDD daemon and UPDD commander. First, let's check out the UPDD console here. You'll click that, it'll show you all the USBs connected. And if you're using multiple displays, hit the binoculars here to identify the screens. Push and hold the blue cross for 3 seconds, and then on the next screen, just hit next if it's not a touch screen. Hit exit to exit out of here. And then in the UPDD daemon, we could also do the test. So open up the UPDD test app and confirm you can draw with multiple fingers. Now all of the gestures are handled by the UPDD Commander app. So click the UPDD Commander app, and in settings, you'll see here we have all of our default gestures set up for all the DAWs. If you want to customize these, you just click here. Let's do a 4-finger gesture, rotate to the right. And as an action, you could do a key command or a click, but we'll have it actually open a file. We'll have it open Google Chrome. So program files, Google, Chrome, application, select Chrome here. Close the commander. Now a 4-finger rotate to the right will open Google Chrome. 4-finger expand will make a new tab in Chrome. 4-finger swipe to the right or the left will swap between tabs. Close the tabs with a 4-finger pinch. And then when you're ready to hide Chrome, you could either do a 2-finger rotate to the left to hide it, or do a 4-finger pinch to close it. Now there's a couple settings here we'll want to change. One is our taskbar. So you'll push and hold for 3 seconds to right-click it, and in your taskbar settings, set it to automatically hide and show the taskbar. This will give us more screen real estate for the Raven toolbars. My personal preference is to have the taskbar on the right side so that when I'm touching the Raven or I'm editing in Pro Tools, the taskbar's not always showing up. Another setting we'll want to change is the user account control. Set this to never notify. Otherwise, every time you open the Raven and Pro Tools, Windows is going to bug you with a prompt to open it. Now we confirm touch is working with UPDD. There's another app that Raven installs. It's called vControl Pro. You can see the V icon here. And in the Setups tab, you can see any of the software that's running. And also, if you go to vControl Pro About, you'll see here it says not licensed. This is okay. Raven does not need a license to use vControl Pro, so users do not need to buy a vControl license. Raven and vControl are partners, so the software will just work out of the box. Okay, one final setting we'll want to do is set Pro Tools to always run as admin. This will be sure the Raven can layer on top of Pro Tools. So search for Pro Tools, push and hold it or right-click it, open the file location. One more time, push and hold, open file location, push and hold again here, and now we'll go to the properties. So properties, compatibility, we'll want to set Pro Tools, check this box down here for run this program as administrator, hit apply, hit OK. Now every time we set up Pro Tools, it's going to be running as admin, which will make sure touch works, we can control the plugins with touch, and that the Raven can layer on top of Pro Tools. So we'll launch the Raven software, and this will open up the Raven dashboard. The Raven dashboard will show all the DAWs installed. Here you can buy different Raven licenses. If you already own a Raven, it's $99 to purchase a second license for Cubase or Studio One if you want to unlock the Raven toolbars for that DAW. Down here, we could load sessions with the up button, or the down arrow is save, or the down arrow with the dots is save as. The gray X will close the toolbars. The red X will quit the Raven software altogether. Here's a couple advanced settings. Here's the YouTube videos and the manuals. Now, to hide the dashboard, you can just double click it, and then it's back in your system tray here. Click the little gold Raven icon to open it back up, or hit the gold icon to hide or show it again. Now that we have the Raven software open, we could actually hit open to launch the DAW, but the first time setting up, it's good to get the DAW all set up before you launch the Raven toolbars. Or if your DAW takes longer than 1 minute to load, launch the DAW, load your session, then launch the Raven toolbars. So let's go ahead and open Pro Tools. Now that Pro Tools is open, we have some settings that we'll want to set up. A very important one right away is going to be your keyboard focus. So if you hover over this little icon here and you click that, this AZ, this will allow key commands like P and semicolon, the more advanced key commands to work. So make sure you have keyboard focus enabled for a lot of the batch commands to work. Another good one to have is when we select a track, we want to sync, edit, and timeline selection. So this is a good one to have checked, so when you select the track, it selects the track in Raven. Now another preference here is for the color scheme. Raven is going to need the colors of Pro Tools to have certain saturation so it can align and sync the windows. So under here in your UI, select the Raven dark mode if you prefer dark mode, or select classic mode if you prefer the look of classic mode. I like the dark mode. It's a lot easier to look at for a longer time. So then we can hide all these windows with a 5-finger pinch. And now let's set up a couple more options. So in setups, MIDI input devices, we'll want to make sure we have Raven 1 through 4 selected. Now you can uncheck any other MIDI you're not using. We don't need the V-Control Pro ports here, so you could uncheck those. And then for the Raven MIDI pads, we'll want to leave Slate internal MIDI in checked on. Now we want to set up the control surface. So in Setup, Peripherals, and in here in box number 1, we'll select Huey. For 3 ports, if you're on an MTI2 or an MTZ, since we're on an MTI Max and we can fit 32 faders on the screen, we're going to do the 4th bank. Now in Receive From, we'll select Raven 1, send to Raven 1. Here in Bank 2, we'll set up Raven 2. Bank 3, we'll set up Raven 3. Now this will set up 24 tracks. So if you're on a MTI 2, stop there. Now MTI Max, select Raven 4, and this will set up your last bank of 32 faders. You see each bank has 8 channels. Hit OK. Another preference we'll want to set up, in our Preferences tab, you go to Display. I always like to select Category Manufacturer here. Under Mixing, very important to have Always Fill Channel Strips when banking checked on. Otherwise, when you bank in the internal mixer, it's going to keep banking too far in Pro Tools. It's also nice to set up a default EQ and dynamics here, just for instantly adding plugins a lot easier. And there's banking options here, which I'll leave checked on, but some users may prefer to uncheck Edit window follows the mixer if you're using multiple displays. We have another preference here we'll want to check on, our keyboard shortcuts. Raven batch commands can use these keyboard shortcuts to add plugins and certain menu items that you can't get to. So in here, select the Raven key commands. Now if you search for assign, you'll see we have all these custom key commands for assigning plugins. This is going to help make batch commands for adding instant plugins. Hit OK here. Now the last thing we want to do is we want to get our windows set up correctly. You can see we have gaps here and the mixer is kind of not aligned. So a great way to do this is with window configurations. So the Raven will actually install window configurations. So go to Import Session Data, Library, Documents, and go to your Pro Tools folder. In the Pro Tools folder, you see there's a Session Templates folder, and in here there's a Raven Templates folder. This will have all the different layouts for dual, single, MTI Max, MTZ. Since we're on MTI Max, we'll check that on. And in here, we'll only check the box for window configurations. Hit OK. Now that our window configurations are set up, if you click your Window tab here and you go over to the configuration list, you see we have all these windows set up. So if I select Edit, the Edit window aligns perfectly. If I go up to the window configurations and I select Mix, there's our Mix window nice and aligned, or MTI Max. We'll make sure all of our screens fit a 2K display. This also saves things like our inserts and sends. So window configurations are a great way to get your windows set up correctly. So now that we have Pro Tools set up, we see touch is working, we're ready to launch the Raven toolbars. So now we'll pop open our Raven, and in here we'll hit Launch. This is going to launch the Raven toolbars. This is how you get multi-touch in the DAW. Okay, now that we have the Raven software open, the first thing you'll notice is this brand new Raven Classic console. This Raven Classic console offers 16 or 32 multi-touch faders. If you're on an MTI-2, you get 16 or 24 multi-touch faders. Switch the mode here, and if you want to hide the mixer, you just hit the 16 mode again. Now you're at Pro Tools, 16 again, you're looking at your faders. You can grab a fader, and you can move your finger over and grab another fader. If you want to bank, you do a one-finger swipe to bank by 1, or you use these banking buttons down here to bank by 24. Here we can hit multiple solos at the same time to solo multiple tracks, or you could actually swipe solos, hold down, skip, swipe, and do the same to get back. You have fine fader mode, so you click here. Now you can ride 1/10 of a dB. You notice really small dB increments here for automating vocals. Turn off fine faders. We have multi-touch pans. They're rotary, so be sure to rotate, not up, down, but rotate left, right in a circular motion. Now for stereo tracks in Pro Tools, you'll hit this L or R button here, and this will swap to pan the right side or the left side if you're on a stereo track. Above this, we could add custom icons, push and hold, choose your icon, and it paints right on there. Or in custom, you can import your own. Now to access all your plugins, you hit this Open Insert button here, and any plugins will show on this Insert tab. You just hit the Open Insert button here. This will open a blank plugin window where you could just tap in here and you could search for BF76. Now the plugin is added. You could open it and close it right from here in the mixer. Hit no insert again. This will open the inserts on B. Here we could add like the Dyne comp. And now we can hide our show of plugins with this plugin browser here. Hit the X to cancel it, or hit the Open Insert button again. In this Raven Classic console, we could also go to Sends. So click the Sends mode button. Now you have multi-touch send control. And here, this will switch between sends A, B, C, D, or E. And you just can quickly get reverbs going or headphone mixes. Switch back to inserts. Down here, we have our markers to jump between different sections of the song, go to the verse, the chorus, the bridge, without having to flip back to the other Pro Tools windows. Next to this is advanced mode, which we'll go in a little bit. Here's our transport controls, record, rewind, fast forward. Here's a batch command area, so users can just push and hold the batch command, go choose an option like bounce mix, add it in there, give it a name. Now you have a little batch command button here. Next to here is the batch command matrix. So open it up and you have this floating palette. You can have custom batch commands in there. Here we can flip our toolbars. So now the toolbars go up and your faders are nice and low. And then flip it back, and now you have your toolbars on the bottom and the faders above there. If you just want to hide the Raven and go to Pro Tools, you hit hide, do your thing in Pro Tools, and then to show it, just click this little Raven icon down here, and you're back to the Raven mixer. Now these buttons up here, these are your fader groups. So if you push and hold these, they can be normal batch commands, but we've programmed them to access memory locations, track visibility. So this is a great way to organize your session. So you'll see here, this is gonna recall memory location 91. We can remap that later, different key commands, or just use these buttons for another item. But let me show you how to make fader groups with the Raven. This is great for mixing with large sessions so you don't have to bank around all the time. So we'll hit our 16 button tab here to hide the classic console so we could just see Pro Tools. Open up your macro matrix here, and now we can create fader groups. So you hit create all tracks. It's gonna open up the memory locations window, name it, select none, and track visibility. Next, we'll select a couple tracks, and let's make this our drum tracks. So I'll do drums 1 through 4, I'll hold down shift, highlight our drums, create drum group. This is gonna show the selected tracks, make a new memory location, number 92, select none, so it doesn't actually make a marker on your timeline, and then it's gonna show all the tracks again. So now let's select our guitars, hit create guitar group. It's gonna click up here, show the tracks, make a new memory location, number 93. It's gonna make sure track visibility is selected. Finally, let's do one more for our vocals. So select your vocals, hit create vocal group. It's gonna show the tracks, create the memory location, none, track visibility. Go back to show all of our tracks. We'll hide our macro matrix, open up our Raven console. Now when we hit drums here, it's gonna recall the drum memory location, show us just our drums. Then we can hit guitar, it's gonna show us just our guitars. Hit vocals, it's gonna show us our vocals. And then if we wanna get back to all the tracks, you hit all. Finally, in the classic console, we have automation mode, so you can just swipe here, switch these all to touch, swipe back, switch them all to read. Now that we've gone over the Raven Classic console, let's go over the advanced mode of Raven. So, hit the advanced button, and now down here you'll see our brand new Raven 4.0 advanced toolbar. So let's go over it from the basics here. You have zoom in and out. We can just zoom in and out simply. Above that, if you have a plugin window open, you can just hide or show the plugin. Or if you have multiple plugin windows open, and say your memory location window, we can hit hide floating windows. It's gonna hide all the windows and pop them back up. Very useful button there. Next to this, we have our MIDI pads. So if you wanna lay down some drums or play a couple chords, check some sounds or MIDI maps, there you go. Next to this is our markers. So we could add a marker here, add another marker here with the plus button, and now jump between markers 1 and 2. This is great for navigating the session. Above here, we have our edit tools. So if you select a couple tracks, we can make a group, and then you could even suspend the groups here. You see over there, it starts blinking. Create a folder track here. And then hide or show the folder track. So you make a highlight here, we could break the region. You can copy it, paste it, duplicate it. Now here's our DAW tools. So if I pop this up, you'll see this will go to our cursor tool, or our hand tool, pencil tool, or the combination tool, or the zoom tool. Hide that. Here's all of our batch commands. So create 8 tracks called lead vocals, make a selection, break and mute the selection, clip gain it up or down, really useful editing stuff. Over here we have a pop out to access all of our different mixers and panning modes and fine fader modes. Right here is our floating mixer. This is a great single channel or expandable to 8, 16, 24, 32 faders. Nice if you want to work in the edit window and just have some fader control. This also has a nav pad for zooming. We have our markers again, tool selections, banking, undo, redo. Here's all the top 8 batch commands. Here's modifiers in here, so if you hold shift, it'll access the modifier, and then you touch anywhere on the Raven, it'll release the modifier. Here's our transport controls, play, stop, rewind, turn on loop, turn on the metronome, go to the top, turn on pre-roll or post-roll. Next to here is our cursors. So if you're just kind of navigating the session around, you want to jump up here, go down, jump to this next region, break. Here's more modifiers below here, shift, make a selection. This is a nav pad or jog wheel here, so you could swipe up, down, left or right to zoom in or out of the session. Press here, now it turns into a jog wheel to zoom in or out. Edit mix button to switch back to the classic console. Next to here we have banking or nudging, if you want to just highlight these and nudge them over. Here's our command browser. We'll go over later when we do the batch commands. Next to here's your command matrix, the floating panel, and undo and redo. So next to here we have our batch command toolbar. So you pop this open, this is a whole row of batch commands for instantly audio suiting, naming tracks, and over here on the left we have a categories tab. So all the batch commands have been done and labeled in different categories. So if you're recording, mixing. Now if you want to edit these batch commands, you just open the command browser here, and here we can drag and drop panels. So go to the user tab, drag a panel from here, drag a panel from here, drag a blank panel. And if you want to resize the panel, you just want 6, just hit the little arrows here. And then we can even drag and drop individual batch commands to panels. If you want to get rid of a panel, you can just drag it back in the trash here, or we can undo and redo as well. Exit the batch command browser, we'll just revert back to the previous settings. You can have as many batch commands as you want on these toolbars, so you just swipe, and now you see you can access more batch commands. So this is just scrollable here. All right, now let's go over a great feature of Raven, the Raven internal mixer. This is a built-in mixer that lays right on top of Pro Tools and gives multi-touch right on Pro Tools. So open up your mixer tab and switch to internal mixer. You see it's going to align and match the colors perfectly with Pro Tools, and now we have multi-touch faders right on top of Pro Tools. If you want to hide this mixer, just push and hold. Now you're looking at these Pro Tools faders, which are not multi-touch. Push and hold again, and this will open up and align our Raven internal mixer. Now for this mixer to work, we want to make sure we're showing all of our inserts, EQ curve, and if you add more, you'll see the faders are just going to resize themselves. Now you see we have our full mixers. Just swipe to bank or hit the bank 32 buttons. Right now we're showing 30 faders or 22 since we want to make space for this track list. I like to have this open so I could turn on or off groups or hide tracks. But to get rid of it, just drag this over. Now we're showing the full 32 faders on the screen. If you want to get it back, recall your window configuration or use the 30-32 button here. Now let's go over the gestures. So with the gestures, we can make a selection, and with a 3-finger rotate to the left, you see it breaks it. 3-finger double tap does undo. 3-finger rotate to the right duplicates the track. Undo, undo, undo. If you have a plugin window open, you just 3-finger tap to hide or show the plugin. 3 fingers also, if you have multiple tracks selected, 3-finger down makes the track big, 3 up makes it small, right zooms you in, left zooms you out. A 3-finger expand does copy, 3-finger pinch is paste. 4-finger gestures, make a selection, 4-finger rotate to the right will break it, 4 tap will mute it, 4 rotate to the right will actually crop in the edges. And then you make a selection, 4-finger double tap will fade it. Now if you make a selection, you do 4 down and right, we'll zoom it and fit it to the screen. 4 left and up, you see will zoom us out. Now if I do a 4-finger push, we'll commit the tracks. 4-finger pinch will actually group the tracks. And then a 4-finger expand, you see down here, disables all the groups. Now with 5 fingers, if you make a selection here, 5-finger rotate right, you see clip gains it up, 5 down, clip gains it down. 5 up, is a universal tool, cursor tool, pencil tool, hand tool. Up is universal tool, 5-finger push, bounce the disk, and a 5-finger double tap creates a new folder track, and a 5-finger expand hides and shows the folder track. So all these buttons down here are batch commands. They've been preset, so users can just kind of push and hold them, see what it does. For instance, this one will color code the tracks, so you just highlight the track, choose to make it pink, it'll open up the color palette, make the clips and the tracks pink. Here's some for instant audio suites. So you just highlight a section, and if you want to reverse it, hit the reverse, it'll open up the reverse audio suite and click render. If users want to make a custom one of these, let me go to the user tab. I'm going to open up the command browser, add a couple panels in here, push and hold the top of a panel to color code it and name it. We'll call this audio suites. And let's make an audio suite that'll do an instant telephone EQ to this. So push and hold the batch command. In the menu item, let's use EQ3 7-band. So that'll open up the audio suite. We'll call this telephone. Now let's just see how far that gets us. So hit the button. This will open up the audio suite. Now we want to do a click that's going to click in here, go to vocal, and do telephone. So we want to do a click. We want to hit V to go to vocal. And then from there, we just want to hit T to select telephone. Then we want to click render. So let's set up our mouse clicks here. So push and hold that same batch command. And in the mouse select tab, we will do a app XY. Now you just hover over, you see it turns red. So we want to do one that just clicks right on telephone, hit return, add that to the script. And then we want one more click that clicks render. So record, and then right over render, hit return, and then hit add to add it, the mouse click in. Now in between the clicks, we need to do the V and the T. So key command, you want to hit V, which will put the vocals. And then we want to hit T, which will select telephone. In Windows, you just only get one letter. So if there was a couple words that said T, we would do T, and then we'd add a cursor up or down. Let's add a little bit of delay. So let's give it 1.5 seconds or 1500 milliseconds to open up the audio suite. Then after the click, let's get it 500 milliseconds. Let's let it type with 500, type with 500, and then hit render. Now let's hit save so that this always saves to our batch command user browser here. So if I search for telephone, there's our telephone batch command. Hit assign to close it. Let's close this window, make our selection, and then hit our telephone batch command. See, it clicks up there, selects a preset, renders it. So now let's do a couple ones for adding plugins to tracks. So we go to mixing, you'll see we have our custom assigned plugins here. So you basically just make a selection, add Bomb Factory to insert 1, or add Mod Delay to insert 2. Now if you want to program these yourselves, let me show you what it does. So it's a key command for assigning the insert. Cursor down takes you to search, and then you search and you have your Bomb Factory. So let's go to our key commands. I can show you here. Assign inserts is Control Alt Shift 1 2 3 4 5. So let me go to our user tab, and here let's make one that adds a de-esser. So add de-esser. Give it a color, key command, Control Alt Shift 1. Add that in there. Now this is going to assign the insert. Let's give it 1000 milliseconds of delay. And let's just select some tracks, and let's see how far it goes. So now it opens up our search window. But now that we're in the search window, we need to hit down 3 times, hit enter to search, and then type in D-esser. So push and hold. Key command cursor down. This is going to go 3 times. Key command return, add that into the script. Now let's go in our text editor, D-esser, add that in, back to the key command, return, and let's add a little bit of delay here. Let's do 500, 500. So highlight this here, and this will add a de-esser to insert 1. Now let's go over track presets. So you add your favorite plugins to here, you right-click it, save track preset. Now this will just load in the Avid presets, but we want to add a category in its own folder for Raven. So go to your Documents folder, go to your Pro Tools folder in your Documents, and here is track presets. In track presets, make a folder called 01 Raven, and if you want to do more, just 01, 02, we'll keep them in the right order so we can get there with key commands. So push and hold, save track preset. We'll call this 01 vocals, but we'll save it in the Raven tab and hit OK. Now we want to make a batch command to create a track preset like this. So it's going to be Control-Shift-N, and if you see you hold Control and you go down, you want to count how many times down to get to the Raven. And then once you're in Raven, if there's multiple, you could do Control-Alt. So let me save one more track preset, and we'll actually show how to do this at number 2. So we'll call this 02 bass. All right, so Control-Shift-N, and count how many times down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now it's on vocals, but we want bass, so Control-Alt, we'll do bass. So push and hold a batch command, key command, Control-Shift-N, then Control cursor down. That's going to be 7 times. And then we want to do Control-Alt cursor down just 1 time, followed by a return. So this will be add bass preset. Now you hit that, you see it's going to make a new track, do our bass. There we have a track that already has our routing, our colors, our plugins. And now if we want to make it one more just to get that vocal preset, let's do it one more time. Control-Shift-N, make a new track. Control cursor down 7 times. This time we just want the first one in the list, so we'll just do this vocals. Now you'll see we can create the same preset that we did earlier. Really great way to get up and running fast and have a bunch of tracks. It doesn't have to be single tracks. You can actually save track presets for all your drums or all your vocals, and it'll create 8 of them. So let's do one more batch command, but I'll show you how to do it with a mouse click. So certain things you may not be able to get to with the app XY. It may be a special looking plugin, you want to click something. So if we wanted to click something like groups over here, you push and hold a batch command, you go to mouse select and you do region. Select Pro Tools from the list, hit record, and now if we want to click something special, we just see you draw this little red box around what you want to click, and then you drag this blue dot, and then you hit record, add it to the script. This will be click group pop-up list. Give it a color, hit assign. Now when you hit it, it searches for that, and you see it clicks the pop-up list. So now if you move the window even over here, you hit click group pop-up list, it still gets it. So that's a region click. All right, so that is Raven 4.0 for Pro Tools on the MTI Max. Happy mixing.